This is an area that I was pretty much raised in, and we would always go up Inspiration Peak several times every year. But last summer, I started noticing more mushrooms and more lichen, and as we would go up every time, I just noticed this explosion of all these amazing textures and colors from fungi. And they're all things that live because other things are dying or decaying. And so it's this amazing kind of magical thing that happens in nature. My name is Joy Teiken, and I have a design label named Joynoelle. I design women's clothing, custom bridal, and special occasion things. Once a year, I figured out to keep myself kind of fresh and excited about what I'm doing, I do a collection. And the collection I'm currently working on is inspired by mycology. So these right here, they're inspired by these mushrooms that when you squeeze, they poof out. I love texture, so what I love to do is just play with fabric, and a lot of this collection has to do with the texture of the different fungi. I was really looking at different mushrooms and the colors within that. And I've always felt that Mother Nature doesn't get colors wrong. So I did a lot of tea dyeing of fabric to kind of get a range of colors within yards and yards of different organzas. When the colors are next to each other, it's so subtle, but it makes a big difference in how you see it. I was an art teacher for many, many years, and I got into what I'm doing really by accident. I've always been a visual artist. I've always loved three-dimensional work, and when I was a teacher, I did pottery and sculpture. Since I'm self-taught with fashion, I didn't learn the traditional way of patterning or sketching and doing flat patterns. I just have done my business in an intuitive way. So for me, it's been always about working around the client, working around the dress form, and having that be my process. It's important to me to have the creative vision, and I've been fortunate enough to have people through the years have just jumped into my creative vision, and so fortunate that I have people around me that are excited about what I do and they want to help out. When I put on a runway presentation, I look at the collection and I think about the music and I think about the models and how I want everything to be portrayed, and the venue, hair and makeup, everything kind of goes together to create a performance. Well, my son Noel, I would say he's my biggest fan because he comes to every show and at the end he walks out with me. And this last show, he said, "Mom, I'm so proud of you. You just worked so hard." And he's like not even 9. I mean, he's just so sweet. I've always wanted to do something up by my cabin because I've spent all my summers up there since I was a baby. And now with my son, he comes up there. And so I'm going to do a presentation where I'm going to have dress forms and I'm going to have a number of models. And it's going to be more of a gallery kind of feel where people can come and go and see the pieces up close. When I first started doing this, I really had this vision of being like bigger and have it. I went to New York a lot and I did a lot of things in New York. I had a little studio space there and I started meeting with editors and getting clients. And I've done things for Andie MacDowell, Allison Janney, and Toni Braxton. After a while, it just became so overwhelming because New York is great. I love New York, but the whole fashion world there is so intense. And you know, I'm a Midwestern girl. I was born and raised in Iowa. I spent all my summers at a lake. Here, I feel like I can kind of do what I want and totally open to what's gonna happen next.